Good afternoon. Hope you're excited for the weekend. This is Eric with Low VA Rates, and as always, I'm wearing red today because it's Friday. This is part of our Red Friday video series, and we wear red on Fridays because red stands for Remembering Everyone Deployed. It's our way of expressing outwardly something that we feel very strongly about inwardly, and that is a love and support of all the men and women of the military. So whether they're deployed or not, if you see someone wearing red on Friday, if it wasn't just by chance, then the likely reason is they support the military. Go up and thank them for wearing red. By the way, if you put a picture of yourself or your family members wearing red on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, Snapchat, and you do hashtag Red Friday and tag Low VA Rates in that picture, we can mail you some of our Red Friday swag. So with that, today's topic is pretty short. So start thinking of questions. We love interaction. We love questions. If there's people watching live right now, today we're talking about whether or not you need to occupy the home that you are buying with a VA loan. In other words, do you have to reside or live in the home? Now, most people might be thinking, well, why would you buy a home if you're not going to live there? Well, let's remember, real estate investors are buying rental properties all the time. Maybe you're buying a flip that you're not going to put renters in, but you just want to fix it up and then flip it. Perhaps even a second home, so you don't live there as your primary residence, but you vacation there. You maybe want to buy a house out on the beach in Florida or somewhere, along the coast in Texas. These are all reasons or situations in which somebody might buy real estate and not actually live there. So let's just get right to the point. Do I need to occupy the home that I'm buying with a VA loan? There's one simple answer. Yes, you do. Now, we're going to talk about exceptions to that rule, and they're really not even exceptions. The fact is you must occupy the property. But all of us, especially here at Low VA Rates, know veterans who have a home with a VA loan on it and they don't live there. So you might be like, how does that work? Let's talk about it. Number one, we're talking about buying. When you go to buy a home, you're going to sign an occupancy certification that certifies that you are going to occupy the property as your primary residence. That is your intention when buying the home, okay? And you're going to sign your name. We all need to be honorable and ethical. Do not suggest that you're going to occupy the property as your primary residence if your immediate plans are to turn around and sell it. Now, you might think, well, yeah, but I'm only going to be stationed here for 2 years, and then I'm going to move. So can I still sign the occupancy statement? Of course you can. Because when you close on that home that you're buying, your intention is not to live there forever. Even if your intention is only to live there for 12 months and then you're going to PCS and you're going to be somewhere else, you can still, with your head held high, with honesty in your heart, say you're going to occupy that property as your primary residence. What we don't want to see and what the VA will not allow is someone to say, yeah, I'm going to occupy it for a week until I sell it. That's just a fraudulent activity in my opinion. I would not do that. If your intention is to flip the house or sell the house or put renters in it, you need to use a different loan than a VA loan, okay? Now, let's say you can't move into the home immediately. Well, on that occupancy statement and within the VA handbook for lenders, there is a 60-day window. Okay, and here's what that 60-day window is basically suggesting. We work with veterans who are maybe stationed over in the Middle East right now, or they're working for a private contractor, a defense contractor of some sort, and they're overseas, but they're ready to buy a house. And they know that they're going to be back here in 45 days. Well, the occupancy statement simply suggests that you plan on occupying the property in a reasonable period of time from the day you close on the loan. Reasonable period of time, 60 days. Now, there are exceptions. We learned this in school. I was helping my son study last night for a spelling test, and it seems like anytime they learn something in school, I before E, except after C, except in some, certain circumstances, same thing. If maybe you're not going to be able to move in for 90 days, an underwriter is going to document why that is, and we'll be able to make some exceptions on a case-by-case basis. But ultimately, you must occupy the property within 60 days. Something else I want to talk about. Let's say you buy a home. You live there, okay, you live there for 6 years, and then you decide to move, but you want to keep the home as a rental. You can do that. You occupied the property as your primary residence, you decided to move, and you don't want to sell the house, not a problem with that. Not a problem at all. We do VA streamline refinances for non-owner occupied VA properties at all times. That just means that the veteran had to have been occupying the property as his or her primary residence at some point. Now they don't live there. You can still do a refinance, a streamline refinance, if you don't occupy the property. Cash out refinance, that's a different story. You cannot do a cash out refinance if you do not occupy the property. So I don't want to ramble. I'm straight to the point today. If you're buying a home, it better be your primary residence if you're going to use a VA mortgage to purchase it with, and you better intend on occupying the property almost immediately, or at least within 60 days. Hopefully we can come up with some questions here. Hopefully I don't get stumped today, but I will do my best to answer any questions if there are any. Do we have any questions at this point?
Do all of the members of the household that are included on the loan have to be living in the house?
It's a great question. So let's say we have a husband and a wife that are qualifying for the mortgage, but I can't think of a situation really where one of the two spouses wouldn't live there, other than, actually I do know of a situation. Let's say the veteran works 2 weeks out of the month in a oil field down in Texas, but the house happens to be in Arkansas. So that's not a problem, because that's still your primary residence. Even though you might have a rental property or housing down on the oil field, keep in mind what the underwriter will do if they find that out, and they should through the application process. They're going to require that you document that you can afford the rental expenses for when you're out of town. Now, if there's a situation where you're talking about a child going off to college, they don't have to live in the house. We wouldn't look at your child's income anyhow when helping you get approved for a purchase loan. But you know, the easy answer is the veteran has to be living in the home. So if husband and wife go out, buy a home together, both of their income is used to qualify for the mortgage, the veteran better be occupying that property as his or her primary residence. And if the spouse is going to be coming back and forth, I don't anticipate that being an issue unless the cost of living elsewhere offsets your ability to make your mortgage payment. So good question. Kind of caught me there a little bit, but hopefully that's a pretty clear answer. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, if not, at least while we're going live, if you're watching this video after the fact and you have some questions, you can always post a comment below. We will respond to it. We had some pretty good interaction last week about the hybrid ARM loan, and we welcome any comments. Again, this is Eric with Low VA Rates. We'll see you next week.